So I'm going shot by shot and remaking this ad. For my ad, I want to recreate a Nothing commercial. I hadn't seen a commercial for their new headphones, so I basically just wanted to go over that and do it. And throughout this whole video, I'll basically be showcasing how I went shot by shot, getting the models lined up, and then ultimately redoing each individual piece in my style, but also the style that I thought would fit the brand of Nothing had they actually hired me. And that's kind of how you're supposed to do case studies. Everybody does it differently, but I feel like sticking as close to a real commercial opportunity is the smartest way to go. So I started out with just modeling the headphones. I struggled heavily. It's a pretty complex model. So I ended up buying some headphones, and I had to buy two because one was not the right model, and then the other one had features that the first one didn't. I also used AI to do some of the internals that I got from the website, which I thought was kind of cool. Definitely sped up the process, and the internals are not the star of the show, and so I thought that was totally fine. Once I had the model, I basically went from there and started recreating all the shots that I see. And the way that I do that is by just categorizing the shots in the ad. So I actually hand drew them out, and then I took that exact storyboard and just remade it with a Nothing ad. And as you can see, it worked out pretty well. There were some similarities. Again, the reference that we're using is a lamppost, and so it's still like a techie product, but it's a little off. And when you're thinking about things like this, you want to actually have a similar reference to what you're doing, right? I chose this lamp reference because it is more sophisticated and more minimal, rather than choosing something that's upbeat and poppy, because it doesn't really fit the Nothing brand. So for the first shot, it was super simple. I just tried to play around with the lighting a little bit. In the reference, it's pretty obvious that they're using a harsh light to highlight the actual logo. What I noticed, though, is that they're also having a very soft, slow spin out, which is interesting. It makes it feel a little bit more handheld, but so that was super fast. This next part was a little bit more interesting. It's really abstract. And so I thought that made a lot of sense for the little bit of the internal pieces where the sound actually comes out of the headphone. And then from there, we didn't have any real footage from our headphones, obviously, because we're not working with the brand or anything. And so I looked at the Nothing headphone social media, and they have these really interesting little ready-made robots that are like pressing buttons and things. So I just literally got a model from BlenderKit and made my own scenes. I have one actually pressing the buttons, and then I have some in the background that are moving, so it gives it a little bit more atmosphere. There's other things going on. But I thought that was nice, pretty straightforward, still sticks to the brand and the reference. From there, I realized that there was a shot that, From there, I realized that there was a shot where it's just a decent close-up of interesting angle. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on with the product, and so I thought that this shot mimicked that in an interesting way. This next part is probably honestly my favorite, and in the reference, it's just like a slow push in, and then it kind of glides out. And the cool thing about that is that it's more motion graphic. It's got a little bit more, it kind of brings you back into the film. And so for me, I actually did motion capture and then had the headphones splitting apart and then had it land. This motion capture was thanks to our sponsor, Rokoko. I loved this part. I've been racking my head forever on how to incorporate motion capture in a really nice, sophisticated way into motion design and product ads like this. And I think this finally answers that question for me. It's just really sleek. It's not over the top. It's not center stage, but it really adds a lot of personality to the overall composition, and we'll see it again a little later, but I really like the fact that I had motion capture for this, and if you're interested in getting any motion capture, you can get some with my link in the description. It's fantastic. It's been a blast, and this whole animation right here probably took me maybe 15 minutes, so definitely check it out. So our next part, again, like I was saying, is we're going from but then all of a sudden it just goes nuts, and we get to see these really interesting outlines and noise and shadows, and it just plays and plays. For mine, I actually made a custom shader that when applied to the materials and stuff, it made a really nice effect. And because I'm using a BSDF, it also interacted with the light in the scene, so it's a sort of really interesting outline effect, highlight outline effect that's still interacting with the different light, and so it's a little bit more dynamic. I think that's kind of what they were going for. In the ad, they have a lot of noise and a lot of little zoom ins to make it feel handheld, quick and whippy, but it's also three-dimensional, and so it's like interacting with the environment. This next part is really interesting too, because it's still exploded, but it's actually coming out of the highlighted effect. So it's still highlighted on the edges that you can see. And then on this one, it's kind of highlighted in the center there. And then for mine, I left a little bit of the highlight in and then had everything snapping together in a really nice, interesting way. The last bit here, again, is the lamp coming out and everything on the desk is slowly disappearing, and then it cuts to title. I thought this was a really great way just to bring back that little bit of motion capture and have this imported desk where somebody would probably naturally be using the headphones, but then it's all sort of disappearing, very similar to our reference. And then we finally cut out to title. So I think the interesting part of all this was making sure that the model was correct, and then really coming in with the lighting and the camera angles, making sure that everything was interesting. But that's really it. If you wanted to do this with another ad, I would highly suggest that you take the time to write down what your reference is doing and try to implement everything that you see in your new model. And honestly, this is how a lot of pros work, even if they don't tell you. And as you get better and better with it, a thing that you can do is just combine ads together or smash different things together. For instance, like this lamp is great, but it's not a perfect one-for-one for the headphones, obviously. And so I tried to incorporate different scenes that I thought might make more sense for the ad itself. And then obviously we add a character still. So little things like that can really make it your own, but definitely don't be afraid to feel like you have to come up with something that's 100% original or on your own. That's the whole point of design and art in the first place, is we're constantly communicating with each other. And if you're going to take something from another artist anyway to make an ad or whatever it is, you should try to use the ones that you feel are the best, the ones that communicate the brand message the best, but then also the ones that feel the best to you, that you actually want to make long term. And so that's really the core of this message, is really just trying to give you permission to do the work that you want to do. So anyway, I hope that you have some good luck in your endeavors, and leave a comment below if you want me to do something else. I had a lot of fun working on this nothing ad. I've got some more ideas coming up, maybe some Legos or Harry Potter wand, but let me know.